Hey y'all, welcome back to Lantern Creek Farm.
It's simple. It's the most simple roll recipe that I've ever used, and I've used a few bread recipes and a few yeast roll recipes that just wasn't it. I'm going to get all the ingredients together, but when I say this is simple, it's simple. It's a very simple recipe. Should be pretty easy to follow, and of course I'll talk you through everything. But these are just fluffy yeast dinner rolls. So let's get started. We've got our ingredients laid out here. We've got our stick of butter, our 1 egg, our 4 tablespoons of sugar, our 4 tablespoons of sugar, our tablespoon of salt, our milk, our 1 cup of milk, our pack of active dry yeast, and our 3 cups of flour. We want our milk about 110 degrees to 111 degrees Fahrenheit. And so now let's start getting everything in the bowl. Our helper, here's our large bowl. First we're going to put our 1 cup of warm water in here.
We got our cup of warm milk.
We're going to put, here's our spoon. You're going to scoop out 2 teaspoons of sugar, and we're going to put our dry yeast in and our warm milk and sugar mixture. Go ahead and make sure we got all this out. She's going to grab the whisk and mix it up slightly, and then we're going to let our yeast activate for 5 minutes. Alright guys, we've got our yeast mixture sitting up here rising and getting bubbly. We're going to set that aside, and in another bowl we're going to whisk our 1 egg, our stick of melted butter, and our tablespoon of salt. In the bowl that's here, I need this to put my egg in. We always want to do our eggs separately. We raise our chickens, obviously, and there could be something wrong with the egg or anything like that. So we always want to do our egg first. Make sure it's good. We're going to mix this. We're going to whisk this up. We want to let our butter cool down a little bit, though. Obviously, if we put hot butter in here, it's going to cook the egg. And it also will mess with the yeast. It will kill your yeast. That's why we want to measure our the temperature of our milk when we put it in with our yeast. We get it too hot and it kills the yeast. And so we don't want to do that. And we'll go ahead and put our second 2 tablespoons in here with our egg. And our tablespoon, or our teaspoon, our teaspoon of salt. Okie dokie. Our yeast has set up. So next we're going to add our egg, salt, and sugar mixture. And our butter. And this is a no machine, hand power, man power recipe. And so something I did make a mistake about when we added our yeast mixture to our milk and our sugar, I should have poured the milk and the sugar to the yeast, not the yeast to the milk and the sugar. I did that backwards, but it turned out okay. So do as I say and not as I do. I did it wrong. So we started out with our yeast. We added our milk and our 2 teaspoons of sugar. We whisked in an egg, 1 stick of melted butter, 2 teaspoons of sugar, and 1 teaspoon of salt. Now we're going to add our flour. like I said, this is a no mixer recipe. So what we're gonna do is we've got 3 cups of sugar sitting to the side here. We're gonna add these cups slowly into the mixture until we get a shaggy dough. 2. Should have added that more slowly. It's okay. Once again, I just plopped that in there instead of pouring it in slowly. It'll be okay. Sometimes it takes a little bit more than 3 cups. The recipe that I use calls for 3. It seems like more to me it's about 4. But we're gonna keep stirring it together until we get that shaggy dough consistency that we're looking for. As you can see, we're getting close, but not quite there. There's about a 1/2 cup. There we go. It's starting to get a little shaggy looking. Once we get that shaggy dough consistency, we will pour it out on our surface here, and we will knead for about 5 minutes. We want a good, silky, smooth batter or dough. It's not a batter, it's a dough. So, see, we're getting that shaggy dough look. I'm going to keep on stirring just a little bit, try to get some of this flour off the edges down into the dough. And we're going to keep on working this dough, and we'll come back when we pour it out on the surface. Alright, you all seen that took about 3.5 cups. We got shaggy-ish dough here. We got a little flour on the surface. I'm going to flour my hands a bit. As you can see, I usually make a horrendous mess with flour. We're going to go ahead and knead our dough. We want to do this for about 5 minutes until we get a silky smooth dough. Y'all probably don't want to watch me knead this for 5 minutes, and so we'll come back to you when the dough is kneaded and silky and smooth. Guys, we're almost there. As you can see, we're getting close. We're getting that smooth dough. I usually say sit about a 1/4 of a cup to a half of a cup of flour on the side to use for your hands and for the tray if you need it. You don't want to add too much flour. That's a major no-no when it comes to fooling with dough. But we're getting a very silky smooth texture, as you can see here. Got dough stuck in my hands. But it's a pretty shiny, smooth surface here. And so what we're going to do next is we've got a bowl here. It's got some oil on the bottom of it. We're going to take our dough, hopefully in camera here, if we can get it situated. We're going to take our bowl and our dough. We're going to take our dough here, plop it down in here, give it a little rounding effect, and a little love tap on the top. We're going to cover it with a tea towel or a towel and allow the dough to rise for an hour. I've got my oven preheated to 150 degrees Fahrenheit right now because I'm cooking a cobbler, and so that will help the dough to rise even quicker. Sorry guys, my camera angle was messed up. I didn't realize it. So this dough is so light in there. I wish you could feel it. It feels like a big air ball. So what we're going to do is we're going to pour it out here on our surface. We're just going to knead it just a little bit. Lakey's wanting to touch it. How's it feel?
It kind of feels like slime.
Yeah, it's really airy. Look, This is a beautiful dough.
I mean, you blow air.
So what we're going to do is just knead it just a tiny little bit. This dough is perfect. So now I'm going to kind of make it a little bit long here. And I'm going to take a knife and we're going to cut this up. Let's see, there's one piece here. We're going to try to fill this tray up. Now I do have another dough that's sitting and rising. But we're trying to get about 10 to 12 or maybe around 13 balls of dough out of this dough. So I cut it into 4 pieces there, and then I'm going to cut them 4 pieces into 4 pieces and see how that works. We're going to set this down in here in a greased pan, and we're going to let it rise 30 minutes and then bake it. You see how I'm pinching that in the back? And we take the pinched end and we flip it over. So like I said, we split the log into 4 pieces, and then we split each, and then we're going to split each 4 pieces into 4 more pieces. Alrighty guys, we've got this dish here. These 2 have to rise. These have been rising, and then we've got 13 as well in this one. So 16 and 13, I'm going to cover them up, let them rise. These will probably go in a little bit sooner. Those 2 might be a little bit small compared to these, but that'll be okay, and we'll let these rise. Like I said, we got our oven preheated to 350 degrees. I'm going to go ahead and put these on the oven because it's good and warm. And then when they're ready, we'll pop them in, and I'll show you what they look like when we get them out. Alright guys, the rolls are done. They are golden brown, shiny. They smell good. So we're going to let them cool down, and we'll put the lid on them and save them for tomorrow, and we'll for sure show you what they look like on the Thanksgiving dinner plate. Alright guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us. We've got our rolls here, and our cobbler actually is in the fridge. It's good and covered up. I showed you. We'll show you tomorrow. It won't be tomorrow for you all. It'll be the next scene you all see. But we'll definitely show you the rolls and the cobbler, whichever one it is for whichever video. But I appreciate y'all watching. I appreciate y'all hanging out. If you have any questions, please let me know. And I'll try to remember, like I said, I took a picture of the recipe, and so I will link it. And then, Lord's willing, if I can remember and I've got the time, I will type out the recipe and the directions for you all in the descriptions below. So if you try the recipes, please let me know how they turn out. But if you liked the video, please like and subscribe, and I hope that we can see you on the next one. Bye.